Good evening and welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nikram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Ghana's service sectors will take center stage at the Global Biodiversity Summit. With elections just weeks away, GCOM's readiness and accountability are under intense public scrutiny. The new Brickdown Secondary School is the latest in a series of modern educational facilities. And crop insurance launch protect Region 2 farmers from losses. Developments in Guyana's services sector, including tourism, environmental services, and information technology, will shape high-level dialogue at the Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit, which opens tomorrow. That's according to Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, who made the comment during his weekly press briefing last Thursday. Pointing to key components of the post-oil and gas economy, Dr. Jagdeo noted advancements in the sectors, which are directly linked to Ghana's biodiversity.
So we are now looking at the services sector. Services will provide major growth pole for economy. We're going to have 12 international hotels. We're moving now to incentivize the large eco lodges in the interior, because now we have some small lodges, but you can't really get ecotourism going. In terms of assets for ecotourism, we have some of the best assets in the world. We have more bird species than the whole United States of America. We have like huge biodiversity hotspots. We have like 86% of virgin forest. I don't even want to go through that. You're going to hear about this at the Biodiversity Summit.
Dr. Jagdeo said these are major growth areas for Ghana's post-oil economy. He also highlighted progress in agriculture, especially in aquaculture and trade.
Second is agriculture. Agriculture, both from an export industry, that is why the hubs to process, like let them a hub to process food, and then the airport there to fly, have a lot of freight cargo aircrafts coming in to fly food out. So both from an export perspective and a replacement of export also dimension. That will be another major growth pole for the industry.
He pointed to deeper trade and export connections with Brazil as another engine of growth.
The third has to do with the connection with Brazil I'm talking about. Because once we have that deep water port, northern Brazil will have to use Guyana for their exports and also a lot of imports into northern Brazil. The logistics, the warehousing, all of these things, the trucking services, major new growth pole for our companies and Guyanese people. These are the information technology area is a big one. We're looking at it. If we have cheaper energy, we will then be able to now have the data centers, a whole range of developments surrounding that. So there are new growth poles, several of those that we're working on at this stage now, and big investments will flow into these areas to make sure that they are that they grow rapidly.
Dr. Jagdeo added that with aquaculture alone, the country can build a $1 billion U.S. industry per year. The Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit will run until Friday at the Arthur Chang Convention Center in Georgetown. The 2025 general and regional elections are less than 6 weeks away, and the question of whether the Ghana Elections Commission has done everything it can do to be ready is on everyone's mind. Government-nominated Commissioner Clement Rohi is warning that any GCOM staff member who tries to operate outside of their legal role during the 2025 elections will face the full force of the law. He made a statement during an appearance on the regional program Caribbean Tea yesterday. Also appearing was opposition-nominated Commissioner Vincent Alexander. Together they discussed how prepared the Ghana Elections Commission is to deliver credible polls. Particular focus was placed on measures to prevent a recurrence of the issues faced during the 2020 general and regional elections.
I believe we have a well-oiled machinery that is comprised of professionals who are committed to do their job and who are aware that should they be engaged in any activity as some of their predecessors would have done, that the full brunt of the law will be applied.
Rohi said the problems in the 2020 election stemmed not from flaws in the system, but from individuals who deliberately broke the law for political reasons. He pointed out this was also a key finding in the Commission of Inquiry into those elections. Commissioner Alexander contended, however, that there are several issues nipping at the credibility of the Commission. He cited issues as the controversial appointment of senior officers and GCOM's alleged failure to follow some legal procedures, as well as the failure of GCOM to conduct its own internal evaluation of the 2020 elections.
GCOM itself has undertaken no initiative. GCOM itself has undertaken no initiative to address its institutional state and institutional development. None. That's the first thing. Secondly, even in the instance where there's a provision, for example, for us to deal with the deceased who are not reported, GCOM has not found it possible to put in place the mechanisms to operationalize one of the 2022 laws.
Alexander said that GCOM has refused to do any review of its system, claiming that the petition is needed. Alexander said his motion had called for GCOM to simply review its system to ascertain whether there are any flaws that needed to be plugged, but this has been refused. With growing concerns over road safety, especially deaths caused by speeding and traffic violations, Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh says his department is stepping up efforts to keep the roads safe. Speaking on the latest episode of Safeguarding Our Nation, which aired earlier today, Singh revealed that over 139,000 drivers were charged with traffic offenses in 2024 alone. Last year, the Ghana Police Force recorded 117 fatal accidents and 132 deaths. So far this year, 63 fatal accidents have resulted in 68 deaths.
This is a genuine concern for us in the traffic department, as one life lost on the road is one too many. Reckless driving in our country is unfortunately driven by a combination of mixed attitude, lateness, poor planning of a journey, and a long-standing tendency towards supporting bending the rules. Younger folks continue to speed, and when accidents occur, young people also lose their lives. So what have we done exactly? Our enforcement postures have taken into consideration what prevails, and over the 2 periods you have mentioned, we have yielded, through our efforts, 139,000+ cases in 2024. In 2025 so far, we've recorded 89,506 cases for all offenses. We know and we recognize, therefore, we partner with critical stakeholders to take the message of safety and raise awareness in each space, targeting an audience in the community which comprises of the specific road-using population: doctors and nurses, lawyers, pedal cyclists, motorcyclists, pedestrians.
Singh also noted that lorries have been a major violators on the roadways, as he shared strategies which are in place to remedy the situation.
Motor lorries have been consistently flagged with the offenses of speeding, faulty park loads, and maintenance of motor vehicles. Motor lorry drivers also pose a significant threat by their unsafe behavior to rural and urban road users. Noting this, we have partnered with the Ministry of Public Works to establish wait stations. In time to come, there will be the introduction of speed limiting devices to be installed on these motor lorries, which will restrict speed capability. Our traffic enforcement posture has taken into consideration what prevails, and so we target these offenses in the spaces where the lorries dominate. We further engage with owners, fleet managers, and contractors to raise awareness that promotes voluntary compliance with the law. We have deployed several patrols to bolster the areas where lorries dominate for the movement of aggregate, to promote safety and to enforce the law. With recent intervention of central government, there are multiple outposts now being established along high-volume areas where traffic progresses.
He also pointed to minibuses as a challenge, citing common violations like speeding, overloading, and playing loud music. Singh said enforcement strategies now specifically target these infractions.
We engage the drivers, the owners, and the passengers for important feedback in the process. And we've tightened the entire process of issuance of a certificate of fitness and the road service license, which they require to operate on the road, as minibuses are recognized to be one of the most important means for public transportation. Crash data of recent and in the past would have suggested that in 2024, when 8 of 117 fatal accidents involved minibuses, This year, only 1 out of the 63 actually involved a minibus.
According to Singh, the rollout of speed cameras, automated e-ticketing, and a new safe road intelligence system has led to over 4,000 speeding tickets being issued electronically. He said cameras are now being installed nationwide to widen monitoring, improve enforcement, and bring greater control to roadways. In addition to stricter policing, Singh said public education is just as important. The department continues to run dedicated TV and radio programs and is encouraging parents to talk regularly with their children about road safety. When we return, a brand new Brickdown Secondary opened its doors with smart classrooms, modern labs, and room for over 500 students. Plus, the GCCI is calling for bold steps to support women in business. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Welcome back. Brickdown Secondary has officially been commissioned with top-tier facilities and a promise of equal access. The Ministry of Education has officially commissioned the newly rebuilt Brickdown Secondary School, marking a major milestone in the government's National Education Transformation Program. Located at the corner of Brickdam and Camp Street in Georgetown, the new school replaces the former St. Mary's High, which was closed in 2016. The modern three-story building will serve over 550 students and includes 22 classrooms, science and computer labs, a home economics department, an industrial tech room, and a full auditorium. Speaking at the commissioning, President Irfan Ali said it was all geared toward preparing students for CSEC exams.
When schools reopen in September, it will be an exciting terms for those students who will be transferring from the old Brickdown Secondary School in East Penitence to this new school here in Brickdam. I know that what an emotional moment this will be for the students. Just opening the school today is an emotional moment. However, beyond the emotions of the day lies a deeper significance, one rooted in the history of this very site. And I've sought to give a little history of all of the new sites that we are celebrating. This location is steeped in educational tradition. It was here, around 173 years ago, that the St. Mary's Roman Catholic School was established, educating generations of Guyanese. And the school, which I attended once, had a brief presence at this same lot. This corner, therefore, is part of our country's educational heritage. Honoring that legacy, we are not only preserving history, we are building upon it with concrete actions to transform education for future generations. So it is important for us to understand this moment in time, the history that we now stand and sit on, and the legacy that we celebrate here.
The school will be staffed by 62 teachers and support staff, led by head teacher Yvette McBean Hawker. Current results show a 95% pass rate and 80% matriculation. The Education Ministry also announced that smart classrooms will be expanded across the country, including at Brickdam, and the new science labs will be introduced in rural schools.
It's not just a building. It's the rooms where we will create Guyana's next leaders. It's the edifice where we will see imagination and innovation and change coming out of.
Classes at the new Brickdown Secondary School are set to begin this September, delivering not just modern facilities, but a renewed commitment to accessible, high-quality education for all Guyanese students. President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, Kathy Smith, has underscored the need for women to be empowered in order to ensure greater inclusion in Guyana's rapidly evolving economy. Smith made the remarks at a national stakeholder consultation hosted by United Nations Women, in partnership with the Office of the Resident Coordinator, the British High Commission, and the Women and Gender Equality Commission on July 18th. The event was held at the residence of the British High Commissioner under the theme 30 Years of Action, 5 Years to Deliver, Advancing Gender Equality for a Just Future. The consultation aimed to encourage meaningful dialogue surrounding gender equality and women's rights, with focus on peace building, conflict prevention, and resilience building. In her address, Smith highlighted that nearly half of GCCI's members have women-owned or women-led businesses. She also pointed to key developments that are helping these businesses grow, including invoice factoring as a financing tool. Smith further urged businesswomen to focus on structure and sustainability, and that strong standards of service, sound operations, and effective marketing are all vital for business success. Additionally, Smith emphasized the importance of women being empowered to take their rightful place at the decision-making table. Furthermore, she reminded the gathering that Ghana is one of the fastest-growing economies in the world, and said continued dialogue is necessary to ensure all Guyanese, especially women, can benefit from the country's growth. Some 6,000 rice farmers are expected to be covered on the insurance initiative that will cushion the industry from its various challenges. The scheme was launched today at the Readiness Secondary School in Region 2. President Dr. Irfan Ali, accompanied by Agricultural Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, addressing scores of farmers, noted the benefits of this groundbreaking initiative.
So you know when you go to the bank, they tell you that you have to borrow at higher percentage because there is higher risk because you don't have insurance. Now you can go with them with your insurance. And we are challenging the bank now. With this insurance, the risk is reduced and the cost of lending to our farmers must reduce substantially.
Minister Mustafa hailed the initiative as timely, contending that it will bring tangible and transformative benefits to all rice farmers in the country, as the government seeks to insulate the growers from financial losses stemming from bad weather, rising costs of production, and other challenges. Mustafa identified several situations in the past where the government would have stepped in and provided billions of dollars in relief to farmers. Ultimately, he noted, the idea was to deliver a product that could support farmers and ensure the continuance of their businesses despite their setbacks.
This is the initiative, comrades, is not just about risk reduction. It's about empowerment. It provides our rice farmers with a safety net, allow them to plant, plan, and produce with greater confidence, knowing that help is available when nature strikes hardest.
Indian company UPL, which provides agricultural solutions, and Global Phillips Morris International (PMI) were lauded for the financial commitment and technical support toward the development of the insurance initiative. Global CEO Jaden Rajnikot Shroff said that among the company's 14,000 products, it would have developed a system that targets individual farmers against weather risk. Usually, farmers in developing countries face their various challenges alone, and this leads to financial exclusion, where banks refuse to provide loans. Using the technology and data, Shroff said within 7 days of an event, farmers are paid some amount of money. He believes that this initiative will change the perception of banks on lending money to farmers, thus improving their resilience.
I want to really emphasize that we are committed to helping the rice farmers here. We are committed to even expand to other agriculture crops here to really help to be able to invest in technology, to be able to increase productivity, to get the best yield potentials.
Kajaram Sankar, a rice farmer of over 40 years, said the crop insurance will be a lifeline to the sector. He said the rice industry will now be cushioned from losses. When we come back, heartbreak on a quarantine as a teen's duck hunting trip ends in tragedy. And later, Caribbean media says goodbye to a fearless journalist who turned pain into purpose.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. Thanks for staying with us. An 18-year-old drowned Monday afternoon after an outing with friends turned fatal. A dog hunting trip turned deadly for an 18-year-old carpenter from number 71 village quarantine. He drowned yesterday afternoon in a canal near the number 71 Sea Dam. According to police, the teen, identified as Yudesh, also known as Boyo or Rasta, left home just after 4 p.m., telling his family he was going to buy an energy drink. But instead, he went dog hunting, locally called Wisi Wisi, with 2 friends. While crossing a waist-deep canal, Yudesh began to struggle. Friend Omar Lilbuk Khan tried to save him but failed. A nearby farmer, Navindra Navin Sukdio, responded to the boy's cries and helped retrieve the body, but it was too late. Police arrived at the scene within the hour. No marks of violence were found, and investigations are ongoing. The Caribbean media fraternity is mourning the loss of Charlene Stewart, a respected journalist and mental health advocate, who passed away on Sunday. Born in Guyana, Stewart began her journalism career in print before moving to Trinidad at age 23, where she joined TV6 and later CNC3. According to Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, she credited Natalie Williams, then head of news at TV6, for helping her transition from behind the scenes to on-air reporting. Stewart was mentored by media icons like Andy Johnson and Rosemary Sant, and quickly became known for her sharp reporting and deep understanding of Trinidad's political landscape. But beyond her work, Stewart was open about her struggle with clinical depression, which she was diagnosed with during the COVID-19 pandemic. A suicide survivor, she became a strong voice for mental health awareness in Caribbean media, writing candidly about her experience as a Black woman with an invisible illness. She often credited her psychiatrist and her service dog, Oreo, for helping her find strength to keep going. Stewart leaves behind a legacy of courage, care, and commitment to both her craft and her truth. In sports, Chase's academic foundation held their ground and defended their under-14 boys football title in style, with a commanding 4-1 win over 3 Mile Secondary in Sunday's ExxonMobil Schools Championship final. But hopes for a historic double were dashed, as Bartica Secondary outclassed Chase's Academy 2-0 in the girls' final to claim the crown. It was a tight first half in the girls' game, but Bartica's top scorer, Nerismar Williams, broke the deadlock with a stunning free kick. Moments later, Alicia Gonzalez added a second, locking in Bartica's title. Then came the boys' final, and Chase's Academy came out blazing. After a scoreless first half, Naren Barrow opened the floodgates in the 25th minute. Jaden Christian struck next. Aaron Vasconcelos followed, and Barrow returned with a long-range stunner. 3 Mile Secondary's Akeem Da Silva scored a late consolation, but the title was sealed. Chase boys are champions again. In the third-place playoffs, Warramuri Secondary edged Marin Academy 1-0 in the girls' match, while West Romveld crushed Warramuri 4-1 in the boys' game. The 2025 Under-14 Schools Football Championship was sponsored by ExxonMobil, with support from the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, and the National Sports Commission. Indian captain Shubman Gill has accused England of breaching the spirit of cricket by deliberately wasting time during the dramatic third test at Lord's, which England won by 22 runs. Tensions rose late on day 3 when England openers Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett arrived 90 seconds late to start their second innings. This sparked confrontations with Indian players, including Gill. Only 1 over was bowled before stumps that evening, increasing frustrations for India. Over the next 2 days, emotions ran high, with several on-field clashes. Indian pacer Mohammad Siraj was penalized for an aggressive celebration, and a heated exchange between England's Bryden Cars and India's Ravindra Jadeja needed intervention. Ahead of the 4th test, England captain Ben Stokes said the incident sparked everyone off, motivating his team. But Gill insists that while managing overs in fading light is understandable, deliberate delays like arriving late cross the line. He said, if we were in that position, we would also like to play less overs, but there's a manner to do it. Coming 90 seconds late is not in the spirit of the game. Still ahead, Belize controls its measles outbreak, a Breonna Taylor sentencing update, and the IMF's warning on tariffs. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Belize has announced the effective containment of its recent measles outbreak. The Belize government says it has effectively contained a recent measles outbreak, with no new cases reported for over 2 full incubation periods. The outbreak, which began in early April 2025, was linked to international travel to Mexico. It affected only unvaccinated individuals. A total of 34 cases were confirmed in the Corozal and Cayo districts, with just 1 person hospitalized and no deaths reported. Officials credit this containment to strong public health measures, cooperation from those affected, and support from the Belizean public. While measles continues to spread across the Americas, Belize remains vigilant with enhanced monitoring of fever and rash illnesses. The government urges the public to stay alert and take preventative action. Parents and guardians are especially encouraged to ensure their children are up to date with routine vaccinations, especially the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, to stay protected. In the United States, former Louisville police officer Brett Hackinson was sentenced Monday to 33 months in prison for violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor during the 2020 police raid that led to her death. This came despite the Trump Justice Department's request for a 1-day sentence. Taylor was shot after police executed a no-knock warrant at her home. Her boyfriend fired at officers, believing them intruders, and police returned fire. Her death sparked national protests against racial injustice alongside the killing of George Floyd. U.S. District Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings criticized prosecutors for their sudden leniency and noted political influence on the recommendation. Taylor's family urged a court for maximum accountability, with her mother calling for justice. Hackinson apologized in court, saying he would have acted differently knowing the warrant was flawed. The Justice Department sentencing memo submitted by Trump appointees downplayed his role, noting he did not fire the fatal shot. Taylor's family called the lenient recommendation an insult and demanded true justice. Finally, this evening, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, is warning that trade tariffs are not the answer to global economic imbalances. In its latest external sector report, the IMF says global current account gaps widened sharply in 2024, reversing years of gradual narrowing since the 2008 financial crisis. The report highlights big shifts in the world's 3 largest economies. The U.S. trade deficit ballooned to over $1 trillion, while both China and the Eurozone posted large surpluses. The IMF says these imbalances are not always bad, but when they grow too large, they can threaten financial stability. And it cautions that tariffs, like those being used by the U.S. President Donald Trump, are not a real solution. IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourinchas says the root cause lies within countries, like overspending in the U.S., low consumption in China, and underinvestment in Europe. He says each country must fix its own domestic issues, not shift the blame through trade wars. The report also warns that rising geopolitical tensions, new digital currencies, and weakening demand for U.S. treasuries could all slowly change the international financial system. While global disruption isn't imminent, the IMF says the biggest threat now is that countries will turn inward, raising more trade barriers and damaging the world economy in the long run. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nikram. See you tomorrow for more Ignite News.